Don't you love that? What's
And
going on?
good evening, everyone. It is about that time. It's time. We're looking at 9 minutes after 5. This is Natchez Renewal Radio coming to you a little early. We would have been Tuesday, but it's Monday. And this is the 6th of January, the first Monday of the year. And right here in my presence, we have the 44th Mayor of Natchez, Adams County, Mayor Dan Gibson. Good evening, young man.
Hello, Mr. Leon. Man, it's always good to see you. New year, and I love that young man part.
Well, that's what you pay me for.
Oh, listen, Mr. Leon, I haven't seen you since last year.
There you go. See, it happens every time. Every time this year.
It's so good to see you. And I have a wonderful guest with me, and she is no stranger to Natchez and many of your listeners and many of our listeners on Facebook. Tema Larry, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm great, Tema.
Awesome.
Just blessed.
That's a good thing to
Blessed. So good to see you.
be. And it's always great to see you.
I've got to, I first got to know Tema several years ago when she was the lead singer for In Rhythm, the wonderful group that we used to have here, Kawan Hawkins group.
Right.
And also met her through, goodness, Word of Faith.
Yeah.
Pastor Robbie Cade, Skeeter.
Yeah.
And in fact, Tema, when I married my wife Marla, which has now been 3 years ago, you sang our very first song we danced
At
to.
last.
At last.
Yes, sir.
Our very first dance.
Yes.
Oh, man.
I remember that.
I'll never forget that.
Me either.
We were at a Christmas party.
Yes, and
The
it was
Santa
awesome.
Claus Christmas party. It was.
It was an awesome party.
Tema, we are here to talk about an upcoming event.
Okay.
And we're also going to talk a little more about what you do, you
Okay.
know?
Sure.
Because you're doing some great things in the community.
Yes.
But first of all, we are about to have our third annual concert, the City of Natchez, partnering with the Natchez Festival of Music. And this is going to be our celebration for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
And it's going to be held at Beulah Baptist Church. And this is a great time for people to come out and enjoy, as a community, coming together for this great event. It'll be at 5 p.m. on Sunday, January 19th. So, Tema, tell us what this is all about.
All righty. So the program, it'll be different songs that we would, first off, I want to say, Alvin Shelby, our very own
yes.
Alvin Shelby, everybody. He's awesome for our community.
He's a legend.
He really is. He really is. He's put together a program. He's put together a program that would feature different traditional songs or Black Negro spirituals and other songs and things like that. Songs that are uplifting, bring hope, things that will things like that.
Inspire.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
You know, I can't wait to be there to listen to you sing. Tema, I have enjoyed having you sing so many times here in the city, not only through, back in the day in rhythm, but you now also sing with a group called Solidify.
Of course, yes.
And you have sung also at our inauguration, the State of the City. I've, heard you recently, and it was so moving when we had the candlelight vigil for Takeria Rogers
Yes.
at the school.
Yes.
That was actually just a week ago tonight. Yeah. You're a real blessing. Tell us some of these songs that are going to be sung. Tell us about this Lift Every Voice.
Lift Every Voice and Sing. That's one of the selections I will personally be bringing. Lift Every Voice and Sing is very inspirational to the African American community, and it's That's our signature song. That's the best way to describe it.
I love that song.
I love it too because it has the meaning that's attached to it is awesome, you know. But we'll do that. I'll do Lift Every Voice and Sing, and we'll have some other. I'm not going to tell you what else I'll sing.
All right.
You got to let me keep something.
And then Alvin Shelby is putting together
Awesome.
some amazing talent, and he will be obviously in charge with his amazing talent. But I want to hear a little of Lift Every Voice and Sing.
All right,
bet
all
there-
right.
Some folks on Radio Land and on Facebook that would love to hear this.
Okay.
Can you give us a little rendition?
Sure. Let me see what I can do.
All
Give you a sample. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise. And that's where I'm going to stop it. I told you simple.
You know, that is really the national anthem.
It is.
Of the civil rights movement. It's right up there with "We Shall Overcome."
It's actually, that's actually one of the names for that song, the Black National Anthem.
It is.
It's either known as Lift Every Voice and Sing or the Black National Anthem.
It's gorgeous. It is. I cannot wait to hear that and so many other songs. Tema, you know, one thing that I love about this event that we're going to have is it is a event the city sponsors along with the Natchez Festival of Music, and blacks and whites come. It is a cross section of our community, and it is a time of unity. And I was so moved last year by just the diversity of the crowd that was there. In fact, my wife, Marla, was there, and her daughter was with us, and just didn't want it to end. Just didn't want it to end.
Something about good music and fellowship that just,
I
never
think
wanted to
music is actually, like Marvin Gaye, that we play so often on this song. Music is a universal language of love.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I teach my students that.
All right, let's talk about that. Your students.
Yes.
So, Tema, you've recently taken on a new role here in our community. Tell us about it.
I came back home. I am now the choir director at Morgantown, Natchez Middle School, and Natchez High School, and NECA.
Wow. Wow. So, you're really working with young people of various ages.
Yes.
A total of how many choirs you have?
Well, really 4.
4 choirs.
Because NECA and the high school, they're merged into one.
Yeah.
Because they're both high school.
Yeah.
But it's 4 different schools, but 3 choirs.
Oh, 3 choirs, 4 different schools. How many students then are you working with now?
That's a tricky thing because I also have a few unofficial members. Let's say roughly anywhere from 40 to 50 students. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear y'all. I have heard that you really gave a great performance at Christmas.
Yes.
And I was out of town. I somewhere. I wasn't able to be there. Tell us about the Christmas concert y'all just put on.
Alrighty. The Christmas concert that we just put on, it included all of the schools in the district, from elementary to high school, and each school had a chance to highlight their talent.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. It started from Terrence Robinson, Susie Ellis, Jamie McAllister, Charles McLean, Monquez Ford. It's so, these are all of the music teachers, and they're also awesome people too.
Yeah.
But just seeing everybody come together and celebrate, one reason, one time, it was awesome. And it's just good. It's also good for the community. I love a time.
Yeah.
I love it whenever we can all come together.
Yes.
And even just pulling from all of those schools, it really brought everybody together, and it was just a joyous time.
Wonderful. We have some real talent in our Natchez High
Yes.
School and middle school and on down. When we think of you, Tema Larry, being there, when we also think of Tony Fields
Yes.
being there, when we think of Hayes at
Harris, yes.
Harris at the middle school.
Yes.
What an amazing talent Hayes is.
He really is.
And we could go on and on. I want to talk a minute about what music does for our young people. I've noticed, many years ago, people don't know this about me, but I was the choir director many years ago when I taught school at Chamberlain Hunt. And we had about 20 in the choir. And we had a really wonderful time. And at that time, Chamberlain Hunt was fully integrated. And I think back to the unity that was built
Yeah.
among those students, black and white. I, as the director, was able to get a lot of the guys to join the choir. You know how I did that?
How? Please tell
I
me.
recruited the good-looking girls
There
first.
you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
I said, okay, if we stack this choir with some good-looking girls, we're going to have the guys show up.
Works
And they
every
did.
Works every time.
Mr. Leon, they did.
Every time.
And I had no problem selling them on the choir after they saw who was in it, right? But let me just tell you, I've seen that dynamic here within our school system. The fact that these young people get in, it just builds unity and friendship and love. And I saw that, last Monday at the school when we had the candlelight vigil.
Yeah.
But I also witnessed that just yesterday at the memorial, the celebration of life service for Takiria
Yeah.
Rogers. And Pastor Robbie was the mistress of ceremonies. And I have a feeling this was her idea. At the very end, it was not on the program, but they had an altar call.
Yes.
And I would say well over 100 young people, maybe 200, answered that altar call. And they were not only at the altar, they were all out in the aisles of the church. And the message of love and of salvation was so strong.
Yeah.
And one of the choir members there at Pilgrim sang during this moment. And I'll never forget, her name is Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Not to be confused.
She did an awesome job.
Wasn't that beautiful?
Yes.
That was the most beautiful moment yesterday.
She has a beautiful, strong voice.
Yes, she does. Tema, what are some of your favorite memories as a musician going back in your life? Because I guess we could say, to when you started singing.
And though, going back to when I started singing, I started in a church like most people around this area. I started in a church. I'm originally from California. My father is from Odessa, Louisiana, and my mom, she's from Natchez. So they both sing. My father was a musician. He was awesome. He used to play with Parliament and Funkadelics. That's the kind of guy he was. He was a bass player. He could do anything now. He could sing and perform.
Yeah.
My mom could too. So we started out really as a singing family.
Yeah.
Singing in church, but a lot of times we would go other places and we would sing as a family because that was the vision I know he always wanted for us, but things just, changed. We moved here, and when I moved here, choir was actually my savior.
Really?
Yes, because coming from California, which is the melting pot,
Yes.
and you're around all of those different cultures and all the different music, everything is at our fingertips. And when I moved here at that time, what people see Natchez as today, it was not like that.
Really?
It was not like that. And so after coming from leaving a place where on every corner is some form of the arts. It's some form of the arts for the children in the community. A lot of free stuff. So when I got here, there wasn't anything for me. Oh, I joined gymnastics. That's
Yeah.
what I did when I moved here. But it wasn't doing anything for the singing.
Yeah.
And my first year, I didn't get in choir. I want to say when I got in middle school or high school, that's when I joined choir, and that's when everything changed for me.
Wow.
And I'm really grateful for it, you know. And it goes back to, like you said earlier, that music is a universal language. Music can do things that sometimes words can't, you know.
Yeah.
And I always say that, like, no matter how you're feeling, even the word music, music comes from the word muse, which is to think. So a lot of times, what we listen to, it frames how we're feeling,
Yeah.
our world. So that's why it's very important. I'm very careful in what I'm listening to, because a lot of times we'll listen to stuff not really paying attention, and you letting stuff in your spirit, you don't know what you're listening
Yeah.
to. So I've just made it a point to just be great, love music, enjoy. Woo, 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 woo.
You know, you just really struck a chord with me when I think back to when I first moved to Natchez. I was going through a very low time in my life. I had become an empty nester. I could live anywhere I wanted to live, and I'd also gone through a divorce. And I'm like, golly. So I pretty much was just starting over, and so I started playing the piano at Monmouth.
In which you do very well,
Historic,
very
yeah.
well
Oh,
now.
you're so kind, Tema. Well, that piano became my Saturday night date. It kept me out of a lot of trouble,
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
and really, I met so many wonderful people just playing music. In fact, it was at that piano at Monmouth I met Kevin Deason. He was the food and beverage manager and maitre d', and really kept that restaurant going. And he invited me to his church, and I went. And I'll never forget, it was Valentine's Day 2016. I was in the dumps. That was a sad weekend. I went to his church, and that's what I needed, and I continued going and became his assistant pastor for the next 3 years. He shared with me, I'll never forget, Kevin, you know, he's passed away, did in November 2019, but Kevin shared with me, he had a great singing voice. And I would play the piano, we would make some music. But he shared with me he had actually grown up in Galveston, Texas area and Houston area, but he lived briefly, well, for a number of years in California. Had a car detailing business when he was a kid, and actually got to detail Muhammad Ali's car and others.
Cool.
Kind of cool. He shared with me that when he moved to Natchez, all because he fell in love with Caroline Deason, and that's another story right there. We got to tell that story on the radio one of these days. He was really surprised to see just how, you know, Natchez seemed so divided.
Yeah.
Because having been in Texas and especially California,
Yeah.
he saw that people were really
Everybody
coming
comes
together.
Yeah, and and I understand it, because it was hard for me too. And when I say we come together, we really come together. It's not things the way they are today. It wasn't like that back in the day. You know, we played with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, we visited each other.
Yeah.
Race was not a big issue. I really dealt
Right.
with that.
Yeah.
Mainly when we moved down south, but it's a lot better than it was.
Isn't it
back
better?
then.
We're making
Yeah,
progress.
we are making a lot of progress.
And Kevin used music. He said, and we used to sing together a lot, that, you know, music really is the universal language of love. So we are about out of time, I'm told. How much time have we got left? About 2 minutes? Tema, I want you in this last 2 minutes. First of all, let's give a final shout out. Remember, mark your calendars. January 19th,
5.
Beulah Baptist Church. That's at 710 B Street, just off of MLK Street here, right across from Cathedral High School. Be there at 5 o'clock for our fantastic celebration in music, the life and legacy, Dr. King, and hymns from the battlefield.
Yes.
Alvin Shelby has put together a great show. Would you close us out with one of your favorite gospel songs? I don't care what it is.
Okay. I don't know about tomorrow. I just live from day to day. I don't borrow from its sunshine, for its skies may turn to gray. And I don't worry about my future, for I know what Jesus said. And today he walks beside me, for he knows what lies ahead. I love that. That's my song right now.
That's gorgeous. I was just holding back to try not to sing with you because
And you could have got it.
I don't know. Oh, no. I just needed to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, let that be a message for this new year. We don't know what the new year holds, but this we know. Jesus is there to hold our hand, to see us through each and every day. And also, I want to speak these words. Jeremiah 29:11. You know, he knows the plans he has for us. Plans of good, not of evil, to give us a hope and a future.
Yes.
Thank you, Tema.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, Facebook, Mr. Leon. May God bless you.
Why, thanks, Mayor.